First of all, hi, Reggie Whitley here. Now, don't get alarmed. Don't get alarmed. I know that you see me alone. Don't cut your TVs off. Don't change the channel. You're not gonna have me by myself this whole time. But I just want to ask before we get started, because you know where you are. You're at the awakening. So as you awaken today, we want to just ask a couple of questions. So I just want to know when you think about some of the wounds that you've experienced, when you think about some of the traumas that you've experienced, have you really healed in all of those areas from childhood trauma to high school bullying, maybe to on the job politics? You know, all of these things that we go through as far as bad breakups and divorces, friendship breaking up, just different things as we go throughout our day and we get wounded and we get hurt throughout life. Are you really healing? Well, today, we're going to talk about what it means to heal and how we can take these bandages off to let the healing begin. And I'm here with a familiar face, of course, author Shontal D. Brown.
Hello, come on now. I love that.
You know, I
We
said I was going
taking
to do
the
something new.
yeah,
I said I
we
was going to do
taking
something
them
new.
bandages off. We
You know,
taking
we're
them
doing it
off.
today.
Come on now. Hello,
Yeah.
hello. We here for it.
So we're here to be serious.
We can't. It wouldn't be a normal show. We
Wouldn't be.
wouldn't
I,
be a normal show if one
I'm
of
the
us
one you
that could
can't
have.
sit beside
Yeah,
at the
in the
funeral.
yeah.
So I'm
Somebody
going to be cracking
wigs.
up.
Yeah, wigs slanted to the side. Look.
Or mother go up
Mm,
there and fall on the casket. I'm crying. What you up there falling on
laughing.
the casket for, mother? God bless
Mm,
her.
mm,
I'm a
mm,
pray for
mm,
mother though.
mm.
So, Chantel, tell us about this book. You wrote the book, taking the back. First of all, one
No,
day
we
I
that's what
want
I was
us
just look,
to tell the
no.
testimony.
Yeah, I'm dead hard.
4 days, and it's well done, well edited. 4 days. So,
But let's talk about how long it took me to get there. Whew, I actually started on this book in 2018. I think God gave it to me 2018, beginning of 2019. And I procrastinated, y'all. Y'all know how I am with that word. But look, that bandage is coming out, honey. What you talking about? Snap that thing. You hear me? With the hairs around it, so you know it hurt. But taking advantage of a journey. And at first I was like, why I can't get this book done? What is going on with me? But I have came to the conclusion. I thank God Almighty for it because it wasn't time. Sometimes you have to experience some things and some things has to happen in order for you to really heal from it. Because you ever been in a relationship with somebody, a friendship or something, and then you see them in a store and that thing y'all fall out and that thing come back up and you like, I can't stand him. I can't stand her. That's how them wounds be. When you when yeah, when it come back, hunch you, or it come back to surface, you be like, I really didn't heal from that thing. So that's basically what taking advantages off is all about. It's literally healing from those wounds. At first, acknowledging them, then feeling that pressure of them, because you got to go through the pain and the pressure in order to get the healing. Okay? So that is basically the all in all for taking the bandages off. It's a lot of things within the book of my life that I have encountered and went through that I feel like would be able to help my testimony, will be able to help other people. And y'all know I'm big for healing that child, healing that inner child. So you won't be here I am, 44 as of the other day, last week, and was still in my 40s trying to battle things from my childhood. We can't be doing it no more. We got to knock it out.
and so there's so much in the book that's about your childhood and even how things from your childhood spilled over into your adulthood. I mean, you even start off the book on page 7. It's literally the start of the very first chapter, Perceptions. You open the book talking about when you were 8 years old
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
trauma that came behind a family friend, a friend of your mom's, who acted like he was going to hit you with the car, but you
Mhm.
knew he wasn't going to hit you. But you had to get out of the road, chip your teeth, and how you just lost trust in him. And it started as early for you, documented as early as 8.
Yeah. 8 years old. And it wasn't also the trauma of him, it was the inner trauma too of me loving myself. Having a coming from scars and wounds. So many of us have different things. Like I see people that have been through fires and been through certain things in their life, and the scars still show. And so even with my teeth, some of the scars still show. Uh, I That's a testimony within itself. But and it comes back, and you actually have to live with those scars. And so it comes with self-love, and loving yourself, and worried about how people see you. Um, and like I said, I see people that have been through fires and had issues, and you can see the burn mark, the scars still on them. And some of them look at themselves and like, I'm not beautiful, I'm not pretty. Nah, baby, that's your scar. Your scar is your testimony. That is your loving point. That is your. I wouldn't. At first, I was hesitant about my teeth and all that, and I went to a event, and that same teeth chipped when I broke up into, and when I ate it bit into a sandwich, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And instantly, I left the place that I was at. And when I left, I was like, "Oh, I'm ugly. Like my husband got sick," and it brought back so much. So it also has to deal with how you see yourself. It comes with so much baggage.
Because isn't it something how you had, because when we say a scar, we're talking about basically an event, right?
Mhm.
So it's something how you had a scar when you were 8. That that wound that didn't heal well, and here you are in your 40s, and that same thing, you got it fixed, you covered it up with the bandage. You never did
Mm,
heal, and then here you are in your 40s, 30 something years later, and that bandage is ripped off. And here it
mhm,
is that you're still 30 plus years later,
mhm,
still wounded. Still, the
mhm,
pus is still there. It's still, there's no scab over it. It's still fresh. It's
mhm,
still out and open. So how do you, I would should say, what do you say to people who have scars, who have wounds from their childhood? Because a lot of the times we look at it and we say, well, that was way back then. I don't even have to deal with that. I don't even have to. That was when I was a kid. That's old. I don't have to. The hurt is still there, but they just
mhm,
brushed it off. You know how we're so
mhm,
nonchalant about stuff.
mhm. And stuff like that would come back and haunt you. It was so many times where different certain situations that I went through that I, as a child, I didn't understand. Uh, I had this. It didn't matter. Uh, at that point in time. And so I think that a lot of people operate off that. As a child, you don't know how. Back then as kids, we didn't have the channels or the things that these kids have now to get the help you need, get the counseling. Yeah, you had counseling. Back then they was quick to put you on medicine. You sick? Oh, we're gonna put you on some medicine, give you a check. So many times, and I'm grateful that parents back then just didn't believe in the medicine. Some probably wanted to check, but they want to put their kids through that turmoil, and we grateful for y'all. But healing and acknowledging things from your childhood and having that circle and the people around you where you can actually talk to, open up to, and be honest about as a child, I think is very important. I think so many times we downplay the emotions of a child, how the kids feel, how they should feel. Um, I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was like, "You, you crazy? It shouldn't even matter how they feel. They ain't paying no bills. They ain't doing nothing." But it does, because if you don't acknowledge the child feelings or how a child feel about themselves or what they think about themselves, as a child, it grows. Like you said, it pours over until and you become toxic. You become toxic to yourself, and you can become toxic to others and not even knowing you're toxic. But it's that little girl, little boy that never heals. So you operating in something that really ain't even wasn't even your destiny. It wasn't even. It was probably planned for you to go through it, but it ain't for you to stay in it. If it makes sense to you.
Right, and it kind of plays into generational curses because on one hand, you can have things that are unhealed that get passed down to the next generation
Hmm.
just by way of it being on the bloodline. But then on another hand, you can be parent, not allowing your child to heal, not being that outlet for your child, and that starts a wound to festering. But then if we look at your parents, perhaps you didn't have that, your
Hmm.
parent wasn't that for you. So you're doing it to your child to where they don't care, you don't care about what they say, you don't care about what they think. Now they're starting to look for things. You're opening doors because now they're looking for, I need this validation from somewhere. I'm going to get it from wherever it's
Hmm.
available. My parents didn't allow it to be available through them. I got to find it somewhere. And who knows what doors that's opening up because they're going to find it from somewhere. And it's probably going to be from a toxic source,
Hmm.
and then it may pass down to the next generations. So you talk a lot in the book about generational curses as a whole, as it pertains to not just that, but what I mentioned earlier about it just being on the bloodline unhealed. What do you have to say about that today?
And when we talk about generational curses, let's be clear. Um, some parents didn't have. When I say this, and no, I love you, Georgia. If you watching this, and it's no disrespect, because you did what you had to do, girl. You did good by me. You did good. But some things as parents don't come. Parents do not have a manual. It is not a manual. There's not a book. I mean, it's the Bible, but it don't come with life changes, life happiness. What you need to do with this situation happen. And the parent could just go look it up. Oh, she having a meltdown. What should I do? She doing this. None of that. So when we speak of generational curses, it goes to the point of, and I have a thing with parents that's raised in single parent households, uh, where you feel like you didn't get it all or you didn't receive it all, or stuff like that. This is why this happened. This is why this happened. This is why it happened. First, you got to acknowledge what's going on with the generational curse. So many when it comes down to how we conversate with our kids and how we conversate with certain things that can cause a generational curse. It goes to the instance of, I was a weed smoker at one time. My mama never did drugs. So where did that come from? It came from a connection of her, but not knowing, it wasn't that spirit came in because of a connection. And so when we talk about generation curse for people that do drugs and stuff like that, she may have not did it, but I was around the areas of doing it. And you can start a generational curse like that, not even knowing what you are doing. It's about the environment. And some people don't look at it like that. That's why you have to be very careful and tread very light what goes on. And so if you don't acknowledge, had yeah, we had the conversation, don't do drugs, or blah 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 blah. But had I would have had that one-on-one conversation or that sit-down conversation and been like, well, Sean, this is this or whatever, this is what it'll do to you, this is what happens. May have certain things may have not happened. We had the conversation, but that toxic, these people are operating these ways. So I don't want you to think that it's okay to do this. But we don't understand how it doesn't always come from the parent. Sometimes it can come from around who you are allowed to be around. And you just got to you got to be careful, and you got to be able to acknowledge certain things.
Right. And you acknowledge, starting on page 63, you acknowledge just that very thing, what you're talking about exposing your kids. So, how you were one who you would smoke, and you exposed your daughter to that, and how
Right.
that generational curse it didn't pass down, but you saw, wait a minute, I exposed her.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and we don't look at it like that. And then I think with generational curses, some of it can be broken so early, uh, and some of it can be broken as even if it was to come back up with my kids. So many times we people don't want to acknowledge. Parents don't want to acknowledge bleeding on their children. And if that child comes to you and says this is or whatever happened, or why did this happen, it goes back to that show that we did, asking a question why. Because some of the things can really be broken if the child could ask a question. Is that door open for you to have an open conversation with your child as far as what's going on? Some of these generation curses can be killed at the door. That's just like if you have a child that at a young age has a very sexual spirit and have a very sexual way of being. If you don't see that in that child, some of these kids grow up, they be child molesters, they be rapists, they be all this other stuff. And if you don't want to point it out and acknowledge it, then how can some be broken? Then you got kids and you got people being hurt by something that you could have got help for a long time ago.
So that really makes me think about, as far as parents. So, and then we're gonna get off of y'all after this. As far as parents, how not, I don't want to say healing your child, but not confronting certain things so that your child can be healed early. How that not only affects your child, it may not only affect your household, may not only affect your bloodline, but it spreads out
Hmm.
to whoever that child who becomes an adult chooses as a victim. Because even if it's not something as heinous as that, it can just be you just out here having a whole lot of babies
Hmm.
by a whole lot of different people. You just out here breaking a whole lot of hearts. You just
Hmm.
out here using people for their money. You sleeping around for money. How that can just spread out to so many people, whoever that child chooses to be the victim. So that's why you have to address it head on. But I'm thinking now, when you grow to be an adult and you didn't have that, how you still have to, whether it is from your parent or from a friend or another family member, how you still have to acknowledge what is in you and then forgive and let go of the person who you looked at. You said, maybe you should have apologized to me. I feel like
Hmm.
I'm old, but you still have to forgive them, although you didn't receive an apology, as you talked about in page 49.
Yeah, and then even with the apology, not all the time you're gonna get an apology, and you have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with it. You have to move forward. You have to heal from it. Even if you have to write down your feelings, I have to write down my feelings. Half of these books that I have written, uh, has been because I wrote it down. I wrote down my emotions. I wrote down how I felt. You have to figure out a way to um heal. And certain people in my life I can go to right now and be like, "You hurt me," or "You did this to me," or "You did that." No, might as well put it out there because I know y'all gonna get the book. Um, you can go to a parent and say, "Well, Dad, you hurt me," or something like that. In their eyesight, they didn't do nothing. and they may not even say, "I'm sorry." And you got to be okay with it as a in your healing. You got to be okay with the not normalizing or people not being able to say, "I'm sorry." And you got to really just go to God and ask Him to seriously heal you. A lot of my healing didn't really just come from the unsorries. It came from forgive. For God said forgive. So I had to go back to the biblical way because you will hold on to something that you probably would never get. And that's the worst thing in the world. Just think if you win $1,000,000 and you got the ticket in your hand, like you looking at the money, and you would not be able to touch it. How would that make you feel?
So really, not choosing to forgive, whether you get the apology or not, really slips you over into because at first it was this person's fault, whether it was, like I said, whether it was a parent, a friend, a former spouse, former mate, whoever. It may have started off being their fault, but then because you chose to hold on to it, it becomes
Hmm.
a self-inflicted wound. So now it's
Hmm.
on you.
Hmm. And I actually was on, and it's so funny that even now I'm noticing that a lot of people that I see, even on Facebook and TikTok, a lot of people are dealing with different hurts. I was on a Zoom listening to Shanina. Hi, Shanina. And Shanina actually spoke on it as well. And I was like, oh my God, like she's talking. And she basically was saying the same thing I was saying in a book. You know, we have these unhealed moments that we could never fix and or never get healed from. And then we bring them over to our adulthood and we have to come and we have to look at head on. We literally are trying to heal the child that once didn't heal. And we have to acknowledge it. And so if you don't, it becomes selfless. It becomes self-inflicted because you will literally live your life holding on, blood pressure. So many times we wonder why we got all this stuff, blood pressure, uh, diabetes, because we eating all this stuff to make some people are, what you call that word when you eat?
Emotional eaters.
Emotional eaters. You going through all this, and then not only that, let's talk about relationships. You bringing toxicness into relationships uh, on your part because you not right, and so you have to heal. You have to acknowledge, and you have to really just reflect on all of it as a whole because you can't move forward. You got to acknowledge.
So I want to ask, because this has been so good, and of course, we're not going to give y'all everything,
No, you can't do that.
but tell us why should, first of all, who should get the book? Secondly, why should they get the book?
I believe everybody should get the book, and it's
Right
not.
answer.
Look, everybody should get the book because I feel like it's in this book. There's a part for everybody. Um, the book opens up things that some of us are walking around trying to hide. It's opening up things, conversations that we probably feel like, oh, we the only person that's going through this. We the only person that's dealing with this. Or we the only person that dealt with it. Or this happened to me and this is I can't move on. One of the main things that I learned with coming in this book that I feel like will help so many people and it still inspired me and it's my book. But to literally just look at those wounded places. Look at the wounded places, look at where it hurts. And it all starts in the heart. The heart, the pain, the pressure, the start, all of it, it starts in the heart. You got to be able to acknowledge your pain. Stop suppressing it, stop covering it up. Stop you got some people that literally just keep puncturing it because they don't want to either realize or they don't feel the need to heal it. Or and you just think you can move on. No, this book is gonna open up doors. It's gonna open up windows. It's gonna take some scales off your eyes because what the vision that God gave to me for this book is to allow people to read this book and hear my testimony, so we can get it right. Not only get it right for us, get it right for our kids, get it right for the people that we love, get it right. Just get it right because you don't know how toxic sometimes you can be if you don't acknowledge it.
So if they want to get the book, and you guys do want to get the so if
Yeah,
they want to get the book, number one, it's going to be released, I know, on April the 1st. So if they go online, they can actually go online now and pre-order the ebook. But on April the 1st, the paperback book will be available. So they can go and order it so it can be shipped to them or contact you and they can
yeah,
get it. But if they want to start taking the bandages off and they want somebody to kind of walk through it with them, if they want to, I guess the best word I can think of is have a midwife to walk through it with them in person, in real time. You're doing a book signing also on
yes,
April the
yes,
1st. Tell us about the
yes,
book
yes.
signing
The book,
without telling us who the speakers are, because
right?
we're not putting it out there yet.
Yeah, we're not doing that. So one of the things that God showed me with this book signing and with this book is when you read the book, it's first off, it's like you said, I'm gonna have an event. The book signing is April 1st. It's gonna be in Greenville, Mississippi. Um, One of the main goals in having this book signing is not only just to have a regular book signing. So many people, when we have certain kind of books, we just have a book sign a book, talk to the people, hey, thank you for coming, thank you for no. God don't want that for his people. Well, he didn't want it for me. And so when he gave it to me, I was like, okay, if you gave it to me like this experience, this vision, I'm going I know you're gonna make it happen. So the main goal is not for it to be ordinary. I want us to I'm having a panelist of guest speakers, dynamic women of God, like slain in the spirit. Um, that actually knows a lot about certain things, and really just prayer and speaking over yourself. Basically. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna discuss the book. And I would love for y'all to come support it. You can get a register on Eventbrite. The Power of Love presents Taking Off the Bandage. And register. It is $25 to register. I will give you the location after the fact. And like you said, as time go on, I will give the panelists that's gonna be there. But the main objective is to talk about it, acknowledge the pain, see if we can be a help to you in letting it go and healing from it, taking them bandages off.
And I'll be there. I'll be there with my oil on my hands. You know what I'm saying? Just in case I got to
Mhm.
snatch somebody. But one of the things that I want to say is the $25. You also get a book. So
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't have done it, but she loves y'all.
Yeah, I
So
love y'all. And then it would be
you're getting a book
signed as well.
signed. So you're getting a book that is going to be signed. You're going to get motivational speakers, panelists, deliverance, and she really has it set up and set out. It's going to be very good. I'm serious. I want it to be. I hope we can get pictures done and videos. Because if you don't come, and I don't promote people, you know what I'm saying? I don't be out here telling people go nowhere. But if you don't come, you're gonna really regret it. I'm just being very
Yeah,
honest. You're gonna look at those
yeah.
pictures. You're gonna be like, dang, I missed that. So April the
And
1st, 2 p.m., Greenville, Mississippi. If you got to travel, it's worth it. $25, book included. She even gonna feed y'all. She gonna get y'all a little snack. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like
right.
how gracious
I ne-
is
but
Shontal D. Brown?
I'm gonna say though, I don't think you're gonna wanna eat. You probably ain't gonna have the stomach to eat when you let all that healing go. Because I don't know about y'all. I can't. When God get to deliver me from stuff, food is the worst. But I'm gonna have to figure out.
Up and out. So very excited about it. Very excited about the book. If you like ebooks, some people love ebooks. You can go ahead, like I say, pre-order on Amazon. The link will be in the description. You can also register for the event. Link will be in the description to Eventbrite to register to the book signing event that'll be on April the 1st at 2 p.m. in Greenville, Mississippi. Also, on that registration link, even if you feel like you're not going to be able to make it, or if you want to say, hey, I'm going to register, but I also want to donate toward the cause, donations are there as well. They are tax deductible. Um, Come get the book, get it signed, and support Shontal D. Brown because she really, listen, she poured herself out in this book in a way where I was just sitting there like, you gonna tell them folks that? And she told y'all that.
Hmm.
So you definitely want to be a part of this movement that she's leading.
Yes, yes, yes. The God is leading. I'm just
That God has put her in the position with
yes.
his hand in her back.
Mm,
Anything
push.
else you want to say to the people, Chantel
No,
Lee?
I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all for y'all support. Thank y'all for coming because I know y'all gonna be there, and thank y'all for going ahead and after this registering for this event. It's gonna be dynamic. It's gonna be spirit led and God fed.
And don't come alone. You know, with stuff that is real good, you know, in a restaurant is real good, and you be like, girl, that restaurant, that food, no, it was good. You want to go with me? Like, you want to take somebody with you. When the movie is real good and you're just sitting there waiting on the movie to come out and it hits theaters, and you call up all your friends, you're like, y'all want to go to the movie to see this movie I've been wanting to watch? You go with somebody else. Why not grab somebody else and say, you want to go and get healed? Go on and register. Matter of fact, I'll register for you. I ain't saying that I will. I'm saying you tell them that. I'll register
Yeah.
for you. You come
And
on,
if you
let's
got some
go together.
teenagers, you got teenagers at home, bring your children. Bring your teenagers. Bring the teenagers.
There's no excuses. There are no excuses. I ain't got nothing to wear. Yes, you do.
Good.
My hair ain't did. That's fine. It's probably gonna get undone anyway.
That part. That part. Please
See how
don't
that?
think. Look. Please don't come too beautified because I think you're gonna end up taking one of them eyelashes off.
Don't need a box of Kleenexes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So we are so excited about that. So excited about the book pre-order. If you don't pre-order, you want the paperback, either you come to the event or you order online on the 1st of April. Or do both. Buy your girlfriend a book, buy your best friend a book, buy your daughter a book, buy your son a book. And until then, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.